Then I'm back upon the road in search of places grander, for that's the way I live my life, a travelling overlander.
G'day travellers, welcome to my latest adventure. I'm currently in one of my all-time favourite locations, Tasmania. A place you can still find untouched wilderness. A place you can still go fishing and actually catch fish. I'm starting my journey on Bruny Island, a short trip south of Hobart. Bruny is a great little getaway, and if you visit, make sure you check out the rare albino wallabies that frequent the caravan park end of Adventure Bay. Anyway, enough from me. I want to introduce you to a local family and one of the best tourism operators I've ever met. So say hello to Rob Pennicott and his artist wife Michaye.
I think Bruny is the sort of place that anyone would visit and say that you're really lucky to live on Bruny Island. But when it comes down to it, I think if you took 9 out of 10 people and put them here to live, they'd actually find it a little bit difficult. But for that 1 out of 10 person who really is passionate about living here, it is absolutely beautiful. We're on tank water down here, so we rely on rain, but we get double the rainfall of Hobart, which is about 40 inches a year we get here, which is really good. To get power on, normal power as in telegraph wires, it did mean that we were going to have to spend about $180,000 to get power on, so that wasn't something that we could possibly think about. So instead we've invested in solar panel.
I really value the fact that I can bring my children up somewhere where they can have experiences that are real, about the real environment, about real nature, and to me that's what the real world is about. You know, the country and Bruny Island, it's just what they make of it, and they find their own toys in nature, and to me that's a really valuable experience. I mean, I love the fact that the kids can just go down on the beach. Like literally 5 minutes ago, I was down on the beach with the kids, and Mia was, digging around in the rocks, smashing rocks to get oysters out. And she will eat dozens of them, and she has done ever since she was a little child.
Within a mile of where we live, we've got oysters, mussels, scallops, 12 different types of fish, crayfish, abalone. It's quite funny when we need fish for tea, Michaye will actually say, don't go and catch fish. She'll actually say what sort of fish she'd like us to catch for tea. So it's a bit of a challenge, but usually I get back with what she's after.
My experience on Bruny Island has been about being lured by the dramatic sort of aspects of Bruny Island. I mean, there's amazing cliffs that kind of soar into blue sky, and then there's also those really intricate sort of aspects of nature that also really inspire me, just the details on a shell, or the altering light of the evening.
I've skippered boats since I was 12. As soon as I turned 17, I got a fishing licence, and then I fished for many years after that, until about 7 years ago when I started the business that I'm in now, which is Bruny Island Charters. And so instead of catching fish, now I catch people. So it's along the same lines, and yeah, it's pretty good fun. When I was fishing, I used to set nets, and you'd leave the net set for a couple of hours to hopefully catch fish, but these things called seals would often come along, and when they did, they'd grab the fish out of the nets and also rip the nets apart, and so it's nice to make some money out of the seals now instead of them costing me a lot of money.
And I think Bruny Island is just that, really typifies that way that you can be so removed and feel like you really are in wilderness as much as there is these days, and yet literally in an hour and a half you can be in Hobart.
When you're on Bruny Island, it's well worth visiting this memorial to Truganini, who was, when she died in 1876, believed to be the last full-blooded Tasmanian Aborigine. Her story is quite a sad one. When she was 17, she saw her mother stabbed to death by some men from a whaling ship. 2 of her sisters were kidnapped by sealers. and her fiancé on a boat trip from the mainland Tasmania to Bruny Island. Was thrown out of the boat by timber cutters, and when he tried to climb back in, had his hands cut off and drowned. And Truganini saw all this, and then she was raped repeatedly by the woodcutters. She had a brother who was murdered, a stepmother who was kidnapped, and towards the end of her life, she is fearful that because she was seen as one of the last of the tribe, her body would be cut up and mutilated by scientists when she died. Sure enough, when she did die at 64 in 1876, her body was exhumed 2 years later and her skeleton was put up in display in a museum. But there is some good news to this really sad story. 100 years after her death, this memorial was made, and her cremated ashes were set adrift on the boat trip between Bruny and mainland Tasmania, where her first love was murdered.